Hi, this is Shane Davis. Welcome to the Vintage Car Club 2015 tour held in and around Kamloops, BC, or the more commonly known area of Thompson Country. This area has a very long history with the First Nations peoples. With the arrival of the white settlers, fur trading began. History records the gold rush of the 1860s, the coming of the CPR Railway, the establishment of Kamloops, plus the logging industry. History also records the antics of Billy Miner, the notorious outlaw. And it is with this focus that our tour takes its theme and inspiration as Chasing Billy Miner. Our tour began at the Quilchena Hotel in Quilchena, BC. It was in 1908 when the hotel was established. Its architecture is a translation of the European, classical, and eclectic designs from stone into wood. A very fitting style, befitting the frontier of early buildings here in Thompson Country. This long-established hotel is accompanied by its fascinating Quilchena General Store. Current history records the smoke-filled skies resulting from major forest fires. Also, it records the arrival of the vintage cars ready to participate in the tour. Here, Fred Gray prepares to unload his 1912 Hudson Speed Roadster. Fred Gray and I left Nanaimo on Vancouver Island early this morning and trailered the 1912 Hudson 33 Speed Roadster here. Fred has resurrected this car and has only had 3 short runs before loading it onto the trailer. We are just in time to hear the opening remarks of Peter Findlay and Alex Forbes, who played a major part in the planning of this tour, Chasing Billy Miner. Let's listen.
Predicted that from the beginning, and we're predicting it still. A few years from now, when we sit back, we can brag about the great accomplishments we've done with our old cars. This will be on the list. And of course, it'll be an even greater accomplishment a few years from now than it actually is in real life. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so used to teaching classes. You can take me out of the classroom, but you can't take the classroom out of me. I stand at the front of classes, or did for decades. Now I'm retired. Somebody asked me as going over to the clubhouse how I got interested in Bill Miner. I don't want to talk too long tonight. I'll be talking a lot more on Wednesday night about Bill Miner. I just want to set you up for your trip tomorrow and the next day.
Tuesday morning saw all the intriguing vintage cars gather under smoky sunshine. How amazing to see such vehicles line up for the tour. Each car is fettled and made ready for an interesting tour for Chasing Billy Miner.
For a 1927 Buick Roadster.
At least one side, one way.
Oh, okay.
And has no returns to the butter. But you're coming back in your picture, take a photo.
Now everyone is prepared for today's drive, but first we have a drive past the front of the Quilchena Hotel for picture taking. Our imaginations return us to early last century. A last-minute fill-up for fuel, and we are all off. Not unexpectedly, some cars need a little coaxing into life, but soon we are all underway. Our destination is the Kamloops Museum. On our journey, we shall see two major ecosystems, which are the forests and the grasslands. The atmosphere is still misty. The smoke from the forest fires hangs in the air, lending a sense of mystery to our journey. The view in our rearview mirror is equally eerie, revealing the Hudson 33 following closely behind. Kamloops takes its name from the First Nations people. The name means where the rivers meet. The rivers, of course, are the North Thompson and the South Thompson, both which flow into Kamloops Lake. Kamloops is the boundary between the gently rolling interior plateau and the very extensive rugged Shuswap Highland lying to the east. Today, Kamloops is also the hub where the major highways meet. Just entering Kamloops. Soon we enter the city of Kamloops and park near the museum. The museum is temporarily expanded to the adjacent streets with the arrival of the vintage cars. The Kamloops Museum was established in 1937 and is one of the oldest museums in BC. As with most museums, all the displays cannot be appreciated with just one visit. On display are historical photographs as well as the 1902 Wolseley, which is a single cylinder, has a coiled copper radiator, and is chain-driven. Along with the Wolseley, there is a fascinating exhibit of the fur trade. Locally trapped beaver pelts were put in this press, and beaver felt was made from the wool. The felt was utilized by European hatters for their warm, fashionable hats. Across the street from the museum, the vintage car entourage stops for a group photo before heading off to the lunch at the Eagle Point Golf Resort. It was my great fortune to ride with Mike and Carolyn in their 1914 Cadillac Touring. Mike drives while Carolyn navigates. Let's enjoy the ride. This is a 1914 Cadillac Touring. It was known as the 30 in its day. It has the 4-cylinder motor and a 116-inch wheelbase. The 30 was in production from 1909 into 1914, so this is one of the last of the 4-cylinder cars before Cadillac introduced its V8 motors. We arrive safely at the golf resort. After lunch, we admire the elegant view over the golf course. However, our main focus will be on the dramatic lineup of vintage cars. It is hard to pick out a favorite. Each car has its own history. Each car has its own special appeal. Each owner is glad to relate his connection to his car and his connection to the vintage cars. Despite the car's age or condition, it is amazing to see these cars running after all these years. Some are in showroom condition, some show their age. How wonderful that we can see and hear them in motion and examine them when they are stopped. Following our lunch break, we now head for the South Thompson Inn. Again, I was fortunate enough to ride with Mike and Carolyn in their Cadillac. This time, I'm allowed to ride up front with Mike. Mike and Carolyn have chosen the more difficult rough gravel road to explore. As the old saying goes, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. We now leave the rough gravel road and turn onto the main highway, which runs parallel to the South Thompson River. We reach our destination of the South Thompson Inn Guest Ranch. We immediately feel relaxed. It is a welcome sight in the hot, dry weather. Once checked into our rooms, we can appreciate the view across the river, then take a stroll around the verdant grounds. Following a quiet stroll and a swim in the pool, it is time to dress up for dinner.